You know, we had to do it. So the Wild and the Blues are playing yet another game today for their first round 2022 Stanley Cup Playoffs series. I almost said finals series. No, that is not the case. This is not the finals. It's a 2-2 series. The game goes on at 6:30 p.m. PST, so you can catch that on whatever TV viewing streaming service it is that you watch these playoff games on. But one of the star players that has failed to get going so far in the way that you probably would have liked to see for the Minnesota Wild is Kevin Fiala. And because his name was mentioned in a little segment on Hockey Night in Canada's 32 Thoughts over the weekend, I thought it would be appropriate to go out there and talk about this player in such a way that links him to another team on the radar that might have their eyes set on him. So, this point was brought over by, was it Friedman or Marek? It was one of the two, but it was indeed on the Hockey Night in Canada segment over on the weekend, and I will leave a link to the video where this information was shared. We're also going to go over onto Reddit because what they did was they actually wrote it out. Zoidberg22, thank you so much for the little write-up here. Before we get into that, though, I just want to say today is the NHL Draft Lottery Day. At 2:30 p.m. PST, we're going to be streaming for the Draft Lottery. We're going to be live for a little bit before the actual event goes down. So if you're interested in seeing the drafts, interested in seeing what's going on in the lottery process, then hey, hang out with us. We're going to be doing the entire stream for the event. And of course, we're going to be streaming live once the lottery goes down too. So you can get in to the discussion, join us for our stream, and it's going to be a good time. So there you go, later today at 2:30 p.m. PST. So, we're going over onto what Tom Fitzgerald said about the New Jersey Devils and the direction of the team. We made a video a few weeks ago. No, not a few weeks ago. A few days ago. It was like last week, something like that, where we spoke about the idea of trading away the Devils' first-round pick for JT Miller. This was because Tom Fitzgerald, Devils GM, said he would be willing to trade away the first-round pick that the Devils had if it meant acquiring a player that makes the roster significantly better. Well, Marek on the 32 Thoughts segment was told that the Devils really like Kevin Fiala too. Connecting the dots after the GM's comments about potentially trading their first-round pick this past week. Marek adds that Fiala might also be the target of an offer sheet. And so, when it comes to the idea of the New Jersey Devils targeting Kevin Fiala too, this is just another one of these forwards that they have the potential to seek should they go out there and say, okay, our first round pick, 5th or 6th overall, whatever it is, it's on the market, baby. Let's go out there and try to shop this pick, get a player that has the same sort of value as what this pick could have. And Kevin Fiala, just like JT Miller, I think could be in a position where that pick sort of fulfills that type of value. Kevin Fiala, let's go over the profile here once more. He is indeed 25 years old, 5'10", 205, a winger center. He plays all forward positions. He's a left-handed shot whose contract is expiring at the end of this season, making $5.1 million as an AAV. Now, $5.1 million is quite the steal for a player who went out there and had 85 points in 82 gosh darn games played this year for the Wild. He had 33 goals and 52 assists. Now, this postseason, playing for the Wild against the Blues, he has not gotten things done in nearly the same respect. He's got 1 assist in 4 games, and there have already been articles talking about how, take a look at this, this is on StarTribune.com, the Wild need more from Kevin Fiala's line to successfully battle the Blues. This article was published just earlier today, so there you go, StarTribune.com coming in here with the scoop. Kevin Fiala scored 33 goals during the regular season, but only has 1 point through 4 playoff games. This article actually goes over how the Wild have been pretty good against the Blues so far. It's a 2-2 split in the best-of-7 series. But what happens if Kevin Fiala, Frederick Gaudreau, and Matt Boldy get more involved? We're going to do everything we can to just refocus, Kevin Fiala said. There are some more quotes over here from guys like Matt Boldy. They talk about what the team needs to be able to do and what the line needs to be able to do heading into Game 5 against the Blues today. But Kevin Fiala and the success he had in the regular season so far has not necessarily been there to the same capacity in the postseason against St. Louis. Is that concerning? I guess you can say it is concerning, but at the same time, if you're a Wild fan, I mean, the series is tied 2-2. You could go out there and just say, yeah, no, like, it's a best 2 out of 3 now. All we got to do is just hope for the best. And I'm sure Kevin Fiala and Matt Boldy know how talented they are. I've been waxing poetic about these guys the entire season, so if they were to completely disappear in the next few games, I would be kind of surprised. But either way, for Kevin Fiala, as we noted, 33 goals, 50-something assists. He's a point-per-game player. He's likely going to get a significant pay raise. If he does get offer sheeted, then the Minnesota Wild are likely going to be getting a huge haul of draft picks in compensation for that. 2023 picks, mind you. So there are indeed some options. But if the New Jersey Devils were to go out there and say, hey, we've got the 5th overall pick, you've got a guy that you don't know if you're going to be able to re-sign in Kevin Fiala, let's make a deal here. And the Minnesota Wild end up getting somebody in the top 5 of this year's NHL Entry Draft. I honestly would sort of fear for my life as somebody who cheers for another Western Conference team because, yeah, the Minnesota Wild getting any one of the other top prospects in this year's draft in the range of the top 5. I mean, okay, let's think about it. Who's going to go in the top 5? You've got Wright, you've got Logan Cooley, you've got Slavkovsky, and then it kind of becomes a little bit of a mixed bag after that. There's Simon Nemec, Jiricek, there's Matthew Savoy, Brad Lambert, a whole bunch of really talented, potentially first-line caliber guys, all in this draft here. Sure, the New Jersey Devils could use the services of any of these players, but if Tom Fitzgerald is really going out there saying, yeah, we want to be better now, we want to use this pick to acquire a player that can help us today, then, of course, you have a lot more of an immediate return with this pick if you traded it away for a guy like Fiala or a guy like Miller, as we said, rather than waiting a few years for somebody like, I don't know, Savoy or a Lambert to develop. The Wild are good enough to the point that I think that they can wait, but for Kevin Fiala, I mean, this guy playing with Jack Hughes would be pretty gosh darn good if I do say so myself. I mean, no disrespect to Gaudreau and Matt Boldy, but Jack Hughes is just an absolute animal out there. So I really do think that Kevin Fiala being placed in a position to succeed alongside of some other phenomenal playmakers in New Jersey could allow him to really bolster the rest of his career long term. And New Jersey is one of these teams where if they wanted to shell out the money, I mean, they could if they really wanted to. They don't have the same commitments that the Minnesota Wild have long term, so it would be more of a fit financially speaking. And if you really want to say that Fiala would be given a bigger role, then I guess that could be more of an incentive for him to maybe sign an offer sheet or for him to maybe get traded over and sign a good long-term contract over there. So, if you're a New Jersey Devils fan, let me know in the comments all your thoughts about the idea of Kevin Fiala heading over to your team. Fiala is one of these guys that just finds ways to score from everywhere. He's got a beautiful wrist shot that he unleashes just all over the place. Against Vancouver, I've come to know that this guy just finds the net from anywhere, and it's been a pretty big pain in the Canucks' behind whenever the Canucks play the Wild. If you have this guy, Kevin Fiala, and Alexander Holtz just ripping pucks towards the goal over the next few years, it could be a very lethal 1-2 scoring threat throughout the future of this team. And if you have Fiala and Holtz on a power play together because one is right-handed, one is left-handed, then you could be doing some pretty good things when it comes to creating goals and giving assists to Jack Hughes and bolstering his point production. If you're a Minnesota Wild fan, I have a few questions for you as well. Firstly, let me know what you think about Fiala, Gaudreau, and Boldy in the playoffs, how they've been playing so far. Kevin Fiala himself says that they do need to get better, as he has 1 assist in 4 games against St. Louis. What are you going to be looking for tonight against the Blues? Because Game 5 is indeed going to be on after the draft lottery, actually. So yeah, join us for our draft lottery stream. And then you can go ahead and watch your St. Louis, Minnesota game because they actually scheduled it properly. Thank you, NHL. Wow, that's so kind of you to do that. Also, if you're a Minnesota Wild fan, what would you think in getting a 5th or 6th overall pick in a trade for Kevin Fiala? Do you think this guy's value is a lot more reduced because he does not have a contract? Because he is an RFA, you're going to have to negotiate with this guy. Again, he is restricted, so it doesn't mean that any team can go out there and just sign him to whatever. There is an offer sheet process that would need to be accomplished as well, so it's not like he has absolute freedom when it comes to this entire negotiation here. He's restricted. That's kind of what the word means. So talk to me in the comments. Kevin Fiala, how he's been playing so far, how do you expect him to play in Game 5, and whether or not you would want to make a trade with the Devils of all teams for a 5th overall pick or something of the like. I hope you enjoyed this video, and Bye.